front. Yeah, because didn't they just, on the RFK train, he can't get rid of the black box warning, but just kind of brought to light that, hey, like hormone replacement therapy is safer than what it turned out to be.
Yeah. So the big study that kind of freaked everybody out about hormone therapy was in the early 2000s, and that was the Women's Health Initiative study. And that was looking at two specific hormones that we don't typically use anymore in HRT, but it was like conjugated equine estrogen. So that's actually derived from horses, like a horse estrogen, and then medroxyprogesterone acetate, which is a synthetic progesterone. So the first thing to know about the WHI was that it was cut early because we were worried about increased risk of breast cancer.
And this study was when, early 2000s?
Early 2000s, yeah. So, you know, you'll hear about it in a very dramatic way, and I guess it was very dramatic, but like all these women were on HRT, and then the study came out, and they had to cut it early because everyone was worried about breast cancer and blood clots. And I guess like the phones were just ringing off the hooks at all these doctors' offices with people being like, do I need to stop taking this? So it was very like emotional and really scary for people because they felt like they couldn't trust what their doctor had told them, basically. But what we now know is that the results of that can't really be applied to what we're doing today. First of all, the average age of a woman in that study was 63. So she was well past menopause. The average age of menopause here is 52. And that counts as going one full year without a period. So women were being put on hormones that their bodies hadn't seen in like over a decade. And we know if you're coming off of estrogen, or if your ovaries are starting to shut down, you're going into menopause, your body obviously senses those changes and then kind of adapts. So if you've adapted to being without estrogen, then all of a sudden you're put on it, like that's not good.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing, is the age of women in that study, the types of hormones that were used in that study. We don't really, the medroxyprogesterone we do still use sometimes, but we've just learned and have come up with a bit safer forms of hormones. And then the way that the study findings were conveyed was actually not, they were kind of blown out of proportion. So like the rates of breast cancer, they were given in a way that made it sound like they really increase your risk by a very scary amount, where in reality, it was only a couple extra cases per like 100 women. So kind of like an absolute versus relative risk thing, where the reporting was just like kind of misunderstood in terms of, how they presented the data.